Indira Gandhi National Open University presents a program on Diploma in Business Process Outsourcing, Finance and Accounting. Course code BPOI-006. Let's listen to a program on Business Correspondence. The participants are Professor Anju Sehgal Gupta, Ruby Singh, Rosalind, Sapna, Chandrabhushan Sandyal and Naveen Pandita.
Course code BPOI-006 Block-3 Business Correspondence Unit 9 Modes of Communication 9.4 Listening Activity 3 Listen to the tape script.
Many people think communication is easy. It is something we have been doing all our lives. It becomes difficult and complex when we put barriers in its way, resulting in miscommunication. The word barrier usually carries the meaning of an impediment at different levels. It could be a physical wall or fence, as well as a mental wall or obstruction which hinders thoughts and perceptions. Some of the barriers to communication are 1. Physical barriers. 2. Perceptual barriers. 3. Emotional barriers. 4. Cultural barriers. And 5. Language barriers. Physical barriers include marked out areas into which strangers are not allowed, for example, offices having electronic doors which can be opened by access cards, separate areas or rooms for people of different status, and one working unit which is physically separated from other such areas. Perceptual barriers are the individual ways of perceiving or looking at things around us. In the process of perceiving things, we select information, organize it, and then interpret it in our own way. This may also prove to be a barrier to communication. Emotional barriers are our fears, mistrust, misgivings, and suspicion of others. We have often heard in our childhood that children should be seen and not heard, nor should they question or retaliate to elders. As a result, many people hold back from communicating their thoughts and feelings. Psychological factors or personal problems can also come in the way of communication. Cultural barriers cause miscommunication because of the presence of diverse cultures, each having its own expression and behavioral pattern. With global communication, it has become common to adopt global etiquette. For example, it's considered rude to burp after a meal, especially in public. Language barriers occur when we communicate with people who are not familiar with our expressions, slang, or jargon. Indians do not always understand the idiomatic expressions of British or American English.
9.7 Pronunciation Functional stress. Listen carefully to the stress on the words in italics.
1. A. Her conduct is good. B. She conducts herself well. 2. A. What is our import policy? B. We import this item from the USA. 3. A. He was present here yesterday. B. Please present your case. 4. A. Tell me the object of your visit. B. I object to your proposal. 5. A. The convict was arrested. B. He was convicted by the judge.
Activity 5. Listen to the correct pronunciation.
1. Absent. 2. Absented. 3. Bartered. 4. Channel. 5. Combined. 6. Commanded. 7. Content. 8. Contented. 9. Content. 10. Detail.
Different patterns of stress in related words. There are also words which are related but have different stress patterns. Say the words after the teacher.
Photograph. Photographer. Photographic. democrat, democracy, democratic, diplomat, diplomacy, diplomatic, family, familiar, familiarity, mechanism, mechanical, mechanician, mechanization, examine, examinee, examination.
Unit 10. Internal Business Correspondence 1. 10.5. Listening and Speaking. Activity 5. Listen to the audio recording and then respond to the instructions.
As one of the main instruments of communication at the workplace, memos have gradually acquired a distinctive style. They are usually written in a hurry, and hence it is important that they should reveal the main message at a glance. If they look like there are several paragraphs to be read, then the chances are they will be put aside to be read later. So you should make your memo brief. At the same time, it should be organized in such a way that it even looks brief. Memos have always been used by government bureaucrats, but their style is a little antiquated and outdated. They use passive voice rather than active. Their memos contain phrases like, "It has been brought to the notice of the undersigned that," rather than, "I have noticed that." They refer to themselves in the third person. The use of I is usually avoided and get to the main message in an indirect manner. They will begin with an introduction which may consist of one or more sentences and then announce the main message. This kind of bureaucratic style of writing memos is no longer used. People who are busy at work do not have the time and patience to cut through yards of verbiage before reading the main message. The modern mode of writing memos advocates a direct style which avoids beating around the bush and goes to the message proper. Keeping them short and simple is the preferred way to write memos. One must also think of the reader's time when composing a memo. Write only what is important and what the receiver needs to know. Even though you may be tempted to do so, cut out the philosophy and your personal viewpoint. Make your communication readable, direct, and transparent. This reflects upon your personality as a friendly, open, and accessible person. Therefore, remember the cardinal rule of stating your subject directly and precisely. To illustrate with an example, if a doctor has been appointed to provide free medical checkup to all workers of the company, how would you word it? Which of the following subject lines is the most effective and clear? Welfare measures for all workers. Follow-up action of the agreement with the union. Free medical checkup for all workers and their families. Doctor to visit the company in order to provide free medical checkup.
10.8. Pronunciation. Word stress. Activity 7. Mark the stress in the following words and say them. Listen to the audio and repeat after the teacher.
Internal correspondence. Memorandum. Interlocked. Defective. Explanation. Discrepancy. Debts. Colleagues. Recession. Courteous. Announcement. Acknowledgement. Investigation. Factory premises. Circular.
Unit 11. Internal Business Correspondence 2. 11.4. Listening and Speaking. Activity 4. Listen to the audio recording and then respond to the instructions.
All formal meetings require that a written record of the discussions held and decisions reached be prepared and kept for possible future reference. This is necessary in order to avoid disputes about what was exactly said or decided at a meeting. It is no surprise that certain meetings like the annual general meetings and meetings of board of directors of companies, are required by law to record the minutes of their proceedings. Even non-formal meetings like a face-to-face meeting of two officials of a company may find it necessary to keep at least an informal record of their decisions in the form of a memo. Records of meetings also help other people who need to know but are not required to be present at the meeting to find out what transpired at the meeting. There are two ways in which the content of the minutes of meeting can be written. The first one is the minutes of narration, and the second one is the minutes of resolution. In the former, the leading points of the discussion are arranged in a particular way. The title of the point on the agenda is written first, and then the statements of the chairperson regarding the matter under discussion are recorded. After noting these items, the ideas, suggestions, agreement and dissent, if any, of the various members are written. Finally, whatever is the final resolution or decision taken in the meeting is recorded. The second way of writing minutes, that is, the minutes of resolution, is when only the title of the item on the agenda and the decision or resolution agreed upon is recorded.
11.7 Pronunciation. Word stress. Activity 8. Put the correct stress marks on the following words.
Organize, organization. Maintain, maintenance. Recommend, recommendation. Secretary, secretarial. Manager, managerial. Office, official. Utility, utilization. Confirm, confirmation. Suggest, suggestion. Inform, information.
Unit 12. External Business Correspondence 1. 12.5 Listening. Activity 8. Listen to the audio recording and then complete the sentences. You may listen to it more than once if required.
In the course of our life, we have to write both formal and informal letters. Let us discuss the difference between the two. As you're aware, informal letters are likely to be in the form of extended long-distance private conversation. For instance, in a letter to a relative or a friend, you may wish to describe a place or a person, tell a story, or even have an argument. In these personal letters, you can use whichever style serves you best. Such letters are therefore rather varied in their style and content. Formal letters, on the other hand, are generally more set in their style and phraseology, although the conventions change from time to time. They are usually written, for example, when you want to request an organization to do something for you, or when the decisions of the government have to be conveyed to the people concerned and records have to be kept. What are these formal letters? These include, for example, letters of inquiry, application for jobs, letters to newspapers, orders for goods, letters asking for travel and hotel reservations, etc. They may also be semi-formal letters written to business, professional colleagues, and addressed by name. The importance of formal letters becomes increasingly clear after entering the workplace. A formal letter has to observe the form usually adopted for such communication. There are certain things that one should keep in mind when writing a formal letter. Number 1. Keep your letters as brief as possible. Remember that the person you're writing to does not have the time to go through a long, rambling letter. If she receives such a letter, she is likely to slip it in at the bottom of her pile of incoming mail, with the thought that she will look at it when she has the time. Number 2. In fact, most formal letters are restricted to one or two main points. Most of them do not exceed 1 page of single-space typing, and very few are longer than 2 pages. Complex topics are usually dealt with in reports rather than in a letter. If required, a covering letter may be sent with a report and state the main points and conclusion. Number 3. Your letter should be clear, precise, and complete. Unnecessary details should be avoided. Care should be taken to focus upon important issues. These points should be arranged in a logical sequence.
12.8 Pronunciation. Stress in short phrases. Mark the stress in the following short phrases and then listen to the audio and repeat after the teacher. Activity 10.
Business correspondence. Letter of inquiry. Letter of request. Prospecting letters. 2-year warranty. Persuasive letters. Informative letters. Prospective buyers. Regular customers. Discount coupon.
Unit 13. External Business Correspondence 2. Activity 8. Listen to the audio recording and then complete the sentences. You may listen to it more than once if required. 13.6. Listening.
There may be occasions when discrepancies arise between the stipulations in the order placed by the buyer and the actual manner or execution of the order by the supplier. The quantity and the quality of goods received may not conform to the goods ordered, or the goods received may be less in number or in a damaged condition. There could be another reason for the discrepancy. The terms and conditions of payment, delivery, etc. may have varied. Letters of claims and complaints may have to be written by the buyers on such occasions. A letter of complaint should be written in a polite language, giving only bare facts which should be substantiated by sufficient evidence. The letter should never start with the assumption that the other party is a cheat. Complaints may arise due to some unintentional acts and circumstances, and benefit of doubt should be given unless otherwise proved. When complaints are received, the suppliers should attend to them immediately, and speedy action should be taken to rectify the wrong, if any. If the complaint is not justified, the reply must be given in a polite manner and without being offensive. All letters of complaints, claims, and adjustments must be clear and definite and should be supported by relevant documents.
13.10 Pronunciation. Stress in phrases. Activity 12. Mark the stress in the following phrases and then listen to the audio and repeat after the teacher.
Letters for special purposes. Agency letters. Personnel letters relating to employment. Status inquiries. Problem letters. Concession letters. Letter of appointment. Letter seeking finance. Letters of complaints. Government agencies.
You were listening to a program on business correspondence. Content Coordinator Professor Anju Sehgal Gupta. Program Coordinator Dr. Geetika Johari. Audio recording Parvesh Kumari. Editing Naeem Akhtar. Producer Manoj Bhatnagar. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.